everyone, and welcome to episode number 9 of the Nosedive podcast. Today, I'm here, Vinie together with Mark, and we are having two very special guests from across the pond, but another piece of the island over there. Two guys.
It's not an island, an island.
It's a big island.
Yeah.
If you look at it on the map, it's a big island. So, two guys from Canada, Zach and Dave, who are going to throw in some really cool info about their event. Apparently, there's One Wheels in Canada as well. And we're going to tune into that. So, Mark, how have you been the last few days? Because it's only been a few days.
It has only been a bit of a behind-the-scenes secret for you guys now. We literally recorded a podcast on Friday, I think it was, or Thursday. I can't remember. I think it was Thursday. And now it's Monday. And so this episode will go out in like 2 weeks' time. And I don't know, but we're
juggling with the calendar.
We are juggling with the calendar a little bit. So as far as you're concerned, this is now. We are going to look to kind of just extend the gap in between the podcast episodes a little bit. We build up some momentum. We've got to sort out our calendar a little bit. And with EOL stuff happening behind the scenes, and for me, obviously, Shred the Shires stuff happening behind the scenes as well, stuff gets a little bit busy. So we just got to get that balance right. It's been a busy 2 days for me. I was going to go out, actually, honest to God, I was going to go out one wheeling this afternoon. I was going to take a little break from work. And I got my jeans on, I got the long sleeve vest on and all the rest of it. And then I realized I haven't edited up the last podcast. I was like, fuck. Blue skies outside, but I stayed in, did not go one wheeling, and edited the podcast. So if it rains tomorrow, this podcast ends. No one will see this episode because I will be so angry I would have deleted it.
That's dedication, man. True dedication.
I didn't want to put the pressure on myself, but I suppose the only sort of related one wheelie thing, and I think a few people might have seen this already, is that we obviously had a little bit of fan mail, and it's sitting on my legs. Really tell you what, it's keeping my legs nice and warm underneath this desk. Is this ridiculous? And I'll have to move the mic out of the way. Ridiculous rug. I don't even know if that's in shot. It is in shot. Excellent stuff.
Yeah.
This ridiculous little mug created by Chris, otherwise known as the ex-milkman on Instagram, and it is. It's so epic. Fucking ridiculous is what it is.
Yeah, man.
And if you saw the video of me opening this, and he was like, I didn't realize you were gonna have a video of you opening the package and then put it up on Instagram. And I messaged Chris back and said, look, Chris, if it was shit, I just would have messaged you, thanks very much, and left it at that. But this thing is ridiculous.
Chris is really speaking my love language, man. Creating stuff creating stuff yourself is really something that I have a weak heart for. So Chris, thank you so much for putting in the effort, because people are actually spending time on making these kind of things, and I can imagine it took quite some time to make a rug like that.
I didn't ask him how long it took him, but you know what? This is actually this thing here, right? This logo, which was the logo that was created by Jorge. He said he wanted to practice on a logo, and he chose ours. And he thought it might be a little bit difficult, and he'd give it a go. Practice. This is the first rug he's ever made.
Yeah, man.
It's the first thing he's ever made. And he just thought, I'll try it. I was like, fucking hell, buy yourself an order book, my man, because you're going to be getting some orders placed for One Wheel and XR logo and Vesk and all the rest of it. I think a few people have already contacted him, because he messaged me saying his phone was blowing up a little bit on Friday evening.
Yeah,
that's I think
that's what putting your stuff out there does, man. It kind of puts things in motion.
He might attack me when he comes to Shred the Shires for making him have this extra work. I don't know, beat me with a rug. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I've already said to him, I said, if you get some pink and green, and I want to Shred the Shires rug. I still look at it now. It's been like 4 days, and I'm just like, this thing's ridiculous.
That's cool, man. That's very cool.
It is. So thank you, Chris. Thank you very much, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking about collaborations, I've also been invited by the Shred Diaries to collaborate on a video. So that is in the making. By the time this episode comes out, it might already be out there. on the Shred Diaries YouTube channel. So Maxwell is actually in touch with a lot of people, and with the means that he has, he's trying to actually put something together. It's a team, and it involves a lot of cool people and a lot of cool stuff. So I'm as a team member, I feel obliged to provide him with footage as that goes in a team. So we are working together on a cool episode on his that will air on his channel.
Okay.
And then we, with the Skirt team, we went to the Olympic skate park to test out Vestman's bowl tune. So
oh right, okay.
Yeah, we put that under the feet of Jaffa, which always gets you epic shizzle.
I haven't had a chance to. It's literally been a couple of days, man. I haven't had a chance to watch the video because I know you posted a video up of the skate park one, and I saw like the clip you put on Instagram, and I'm pretty sure Jaffa smashes himself into a wall at least once, at least once. So
the two.
I'm looking forward to that.
The two vest machines that Jaffa has, he immediately put the bowl tune on there for him and his son. And they are both as crazy as it can be, because his son actually was there with broken ribs. He fell in the swimming pool the day before. But there's no stopping the little bugger, man. He was riding, like at first he was like, yeah, Dad, can I rent a step? I'm going to take it easy. Like half an hour later, going all out. And it was cool. You definitely notice the difference between the bowl tune and the regular tune. If you want to hit transitions, quarter pipes, like a pump track or something like that, this will be your tune. It just gets you up there, down there, and it adjusts quarter rather quickly without having the need of a remote. So that's a real big evolution for the freestyle skate. Freestyle one wheeling.
Excellent. We need to get Vestman on this chat. I don't know how or when, because we cannot allow for a rambling conversation when we will just have a list of different questions that I think we probably need to go to the community and go, okay, let's get 20 of your best questions and we'll just smash them out one after another. No conversation, just bang, 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 bang. So Hannes, we'll come for you. We've mentioned him every single bloody podcast. We have to get him on. Very, very soon, so people can hear more about this bowl tune.
And all the things that he's been developing, because he never sits still. He is retired from racing, but he's definitely not retired from one wheeling.
No, exactly. Well, he's almost. I know he's always been doing tricks and stuff like that, but his content of the tricks that he's been practicing and performing, it's a bit like what Rachel was saying last week. On the podcast that we put out last week, about retiring from racing and wanting to focus more on doing tricks and having fun, not having to train and practice and train and just have fun.
Yeah, and they have to be careful as well if they race, because that's where I see it go wrong often in the European events. There's a freestyle event on Friday night because people want to already do some stuff and then they get hurt in a freestyle before they go racing. So it is a thing, and it's something that you want to avoid when you race. So in that regard, I can definitely understand those decisions. I have a similar thing like with organizing all the events. Like it does take me away from riding more than I want to, and it's something that you have to sacrifice. And sometimes you can only do it for so long before you need to experience it a bit more. That's also what we're doing with Skirt. We're going to try to divide it a bit more throughout the year so that we can enjoy the events a bit more than having to put all your time into one big thing.
Shouldn't be a job.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a job.
I've said it to our team that there are guys in our team that want to be able to have the skills to do so many different things, and I'm just like, just do your one bit, enjoy it. Last year, I don't think any of us really had a chance just to stop and relax. We kind of went on social rides, but there was that anxiety of leading the social ride, just making sure that everybody got back, and someone's wheel gets clogged with mud, and has anybody got the tools to be able to help them unclog their wheel? And there's that constant heightened level of anxiety when you're doing that. And I think this year very much we're going to be a lot more structured in our routines, in our timetables. And if you're not doing something, don't hang around at the bar. Go out and go and enjoy yourself. Go and enjoy yourself. Ride around. Do something that isn't gravitating next to the control point.
Yeah,
because you're it takes like a week to set everything up, and it's a lot of time and effort.
Yeah.
So you are right. You just need to take a step back and just enjoy it. Remember why you enjoyed it.
Yeah, sometimes you do. All right. And I also have a shout out this week because I've noticed something very peculiar on Instagram. Well, not peculiar, it's very respectful. Actually, Shane Andrew Minter, which is better known as Shane Handstands, has been doing handstands on a one wheel for 365 executive days. And he finished this week. The whole trajectory is available on his Instagram. All the videos are there. The proof is there. I hope Guinness throws themselves on it because what an accomplishment. Whoa.
It's insane. You get people with like the riding streaks, like I'm going to ride every single day throughout the year. It's like, yeah, but I'm going to do a handstands. I have chatted with him a little bit. I said to him, because I commented on one of his videos, he's like, "Oh, does that mean I'm going to get to come on the podcast?" I went, "Yes, of course. I'll add you to the list." But just to hear about that, I want to know things like, did he measure his forearms before and after, shit like that? Because and what's the longest distance he's done on a handstand, and
he seems to have it under control pretty well. If you see him on the videos, he's just flying through all kinds of terrains on his hands, which is not the easiest thing to do. Standing still, let's say, on a one wheel.
Yeah. My brain is currently thinking we need to get like a 20-meter track, a rolling start maybe, and just see who's quicker. Lars on a chair or Dave doing the handstands. Which one's going to be quicker over a rolling start of 20 meters?
Yeah.
I'd be interested. Just really rutty stuff. Because Lars is in that chair and he doesn't really move. So
we might have a good contestant for him. I've seen Alexis do the handstands on the one wheel as well, so we might have to put him against Alexis on the handstand and Lars on the chair. Lars is a quick one on the chair as well, so
that's quite.
I want to see him juggle. That's something I want to see Lars do. Juggle in the chair on the one wheel.
In the chair. Okay, I've seen James Anthony Nightwheel on Instagram. He's juggled on his one wheel, and I can juggle balls on the one wheel. I can't juggle clubs. I can juggle clubs not on the one wheel.
Yeah.
But I haven't practiced that enough yet to juggle clubs on the one wheel as well. So it certainly adds an extra dimension to it. Definitely.
Yeah, and talking about juggling, we should juggle with our guests today.
Absolutely. I think they're waiting in the wings. So let's click some buttons, and as if by magic.
Hey guys.
Hey, how we doing?
Zachary.
Good yourself?
All good.
Yeah.
Not too bad at all.
Do we have another guest in the waiting room? I see another.
Do we? I've got to let both.
Yeah.
Yeah. David's supposed to be there too.
I have to lean because my camera is in the way of all of my buttons.
There we go.
There we go. We're all here.
Dave is in the house as well.
Hi guys.
Still not getting used to this.
Hey.
Good evening. Good evening. Good afternoon. Good. I'm terrible at this. What time have we got? What time are we on at the moment for you?
1:45 right now.
Excellent stuff. Right. Okay. Cool. We're just. I'm terrible with Greenwich Mean Time or Eastern Central European Time or whatever. I like Portugal because Portugal runs on the same UK timeline, so that's fine. I can cope with that. Anywhere else,
just ask. just ask, right? I mean, you don't even have to know.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. This time of year, it's just dark everywhere and cold mostly.
Anyway,
so nobody's really happy. So welcome along to our little podcast.
Wow, thank you for inviting us.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
It should hopefully be our pleasure and hopefully your pleasure at all. We don't know yet, but we'll see. See how the time passes. So I mean, the first thing I want to say is, so there's a one wheel event in Montreal. Who the fuck knew that? Because I didn't. You did, but I was mentioning it to Vinie. Oh, I've got these guys from Canada, from Montreal, wanted to talk about their event and everything. One wheel in Canada. Is like, oh, okay, they have one wheels out there. Excellent. This is brilliant. So this is that was the whole point of the podcast, though, for us just to talk to absolutely everybody about absolutely anything everywhere. So, I mean, introduce yourselves. Let's start off with that.
Go on, Dave.
Yeah. So okay. I've been riding for about three years now. mostly one wheels. And since I buy my first boards, it's been love at first sight. So I'm just trying to, spread the stoke here in Montreal, in the Quebec province, in the Canada. So it's not well known yet. Starting to be better and better. So I guess we just organize some event stuff and group rides and everything to make sure that we grow a community here in Montreal. So yeah,
Right.
that's pretty about.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Nice.
My name is
Zachary?
Zachary. Yeah, my name is Zachary. I'm like my real job is financial advisor. But my passion is mostly EUC. Like I'm a big EUC fan. I started on one wheel though, and I love like both sports. And I think the potential for these sports to become like mass market stuff, like to become bigger and more well known. I think it's incredible. Those are real machines from the future, right? If you've ridden one, you
Mm.
know, and you know how powerful you feel and how good you feel on these, and how it makes you want to discover everything around. So we just wanted to, let people share the stoke and let people share enjoy what we enjoy already, and as of at this point in Canada or in Montreal anyway, it's still not well known. So a lot of people fear what they don't know, right? And
Absolutely.
even the bicycles, like they're fighting against us, so we don't use the bicycle path and stuff like that. And we're trying to make our way and saying, hey man, like we're all like grown ups, like we can handle ourselves. And so I'm just trying to, we're just trying to make it out there, or make it seen as much as possible so people understand it more, and they understand that it's not a problem. It's actually a solution.
So my first question was, and you kind of you led into it a little bit there, was what's the legality in Montreal in Canada for electric vehicles?
Yeah, it's quite difficult. I mean, there's a new law coming in last summer, so we have several restrictions. So officially, it's not legal on the streets, but we find a way to ride them on private path or greenways. But they have restriction about the watts about the engine, so we are limited to 500 only. So we all know that a one wheel is 750, and the riders needs to be over 14. We need helmets, elbow, knee pads, and everything. That's a good thing, but
Mm-hmm.
we're not allowed to be on the streets because it's not legal. I don't know, Zach, if you can say a little more about these laws.
Well, even on bicycle path, like we're limited to go slower than a bicycle. Like the bicycles, yeah, the
I was
bicycles.
just trying to put you off doing it.
I mean, that's my whole point. I'm like, if you guys want us to less use our car less, and make it greener, and stop carbon dioxide and stuff like that, like you gotta allow us to use alternatives. Like at this point, they're just like they say, yeah, well, you can use this, but we'll make it as impractical as possible, and it makes no sense. Like the police has not been super insistent. Like they're not actively trying to catch us. Not
Yeah.
not in most places anyway. But they start to know, they know who we are, and they're starting to, tighten down a bit. So it's in the air right now. We're in between. Used to be the Far West. Now they're starting to show interest in our thing. Not sure if it's a good thing or not yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the key thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Hmm.
Feel like a little bit when snowboard came in, people were scared. So we are feel the same way though. So we need to go to to be there on events, make sure that people can try. Most of the time, people ask us questions and they want to try it. So we're working very hard on it to spread the stoke, and we'll see in the next month, years. Laws are changing fast, so we'll see for next summer what's going on here.
Yeah, and the people are always pleasantly surprised on how low the learning curve is, because they see it as a very hard thing to learn, but the machine actually helps in supporting you, and people actually pick it up quite easily, and then they realize that it's not that dangerous as it looks. Sometimes the guys like us do contribute on making it a bit more dangerous, but
Yeah, that's the thing,
it's
right?
all it all depends on what you do with the machine, but just like commuting is super safe. If you handle it with a helmet, wrist guards, and you just commute, it's like one of the safest things out there.
A video doesn't go viral of somebody just going along calmly in a straight line on a road. It's got to be a trick. It's got to be a drop. It's got to be riding over something weird and extreme, or like on an ECU going ridiculously fast.
Yeah.
Nobody watches that stuff. So therefore, the only stuff the authorities ever see is the extreme end of the scale.
Yeah.
If you just got rid of everyone riding a bicycle on a street normally, and the only footage anybody saw were people on mountain bikes going down the paths in like Brazil doing the big racing, the Red Bull things, they banned bicycles.
Yeah.
I mean,
Same.
120 odd years ago, bicycles were a dangerous beast because they were uncommon and unmanly and weird. But
yeah, that's somebody told me that every new invention goes through 3 phases. Like at first it's weird, then it's dangerous, then it's normal. We're at the dangerous phase now, so I expect that in the next like 3 to 5 years we'll be in the normal phase.
We can hope so. We're in the same situation in the United Kingdom and a lot of places within Europe where it is illegal to ride on the roads. There's been a few instances where people have boards seized. I think in those instances they are typically ridden in high traffic areas, on very popular areas. You know, there's instances of people going like in big touristy places and being surprised that the police tell them off 3 or 4 times and then seize their board. But it evokes a lot of emotion within the person. But typically, I think a lot of people just riding around generally don't get bothered too much. The police have got far too many things to worry themselves. But in big metropolitan areas, they are cracking down. Mostly it's e-bikes. Mostly it's over supercharged e-bikes that are just 2 wheels and a battery, no pedaling required. Just, hacked out e-bikes that they're watching for. But if you're on a 1 wheel or a scooter or something like that, they're going to pull you over and seize it, basically. Which is a damn shame. A damn shame.
Definitely. It's not like those are cheap either, right?
Exactly not. But yeah, and it is all across Europe as well. I don't think we have them in Canada. You can rent the scooters. We've got a lot of cities and towns where you can just rent these big, chunky scooters that are a lot cheaper than a taxi. I've only ever done it once. I was very, very pissed. And I did not want to get a taxi because the taxi was going to be about £10 to go sort of 3 miles in the town. And I just said to my girlfriend, I said, let's get one of them scooters. We made it. It was fine. So the first and last time I've ever ridden an electric scooter, and I was absolutely fine. I think being drunk probably helped, which again is against the law. So there you go. But it was a lot cheaper. And just that element of things is cheaper. But hey ho. But that's the negative side of the electric life that we try to lead. And I think the positivity that everybody brings with events and things like that are only going to progress things a bit further. So your event, your Quebec Games, I'm not even going to try and pronounce it because it's like French Canadian and I butcher the English language or any other language. So
Jeux Électriques Québec.
Oh, you're pretty good. Yeah,
correct.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
But we chose we chose the Quebec Electric Games, which is shortened as KEG. So I guess you know how to pronounce that, right?
Yeah.
Quebec Electric Games.
I like it. So tell us more about that. Did you hold your first event last year?
Correct. Yeah, last summer in July.
Fantastic stuff. And when I looked at that, I was shocked. And I think we have a small but a strong community that watch and listen to the podcast, and I think they're going to be as shocked as me that it doesn't snow all the time in Canada. I mean, what the hell? I wasn't aware. People were wearing shorts, for God's sake.
It was so odd during that weekend. It was crazy. Like everybody was sweating. We were like brown and yet burnt. Yeah, we
Not
don't
used to that in
we
Canada.
don't live in igloos or stuff like that, like contrary to popular belief.
Okay, so I'll cross out that question about igloos. I don't get rid of that one.
Yeah, well, today is -20 here in we
Shit.
had a lot of snow this weekend, but we snowboard, so
Okay.
we have four season, and we are grateful for that because every season bring some new sports, so we can switch over snowboard, skateboard, surf, one wheel. So
That's nice.
it's nice to have four season actually.
Absolutely. Four
Yeah,
defined seasons.
And proper
yeah.
seasons, like here in Belgium, if it snows, it turns into water in an hour, and it's all mushy, so we never
Hmm.
get any decent snow. I rather have a Canadian winter than a Belgian one.
Yeah. Well, come visit us. You might regret those words.
Yeah,
So tell it.
I used to live in the mountains in Austria for the winter time, so I'm quite
Nice.
used to the cold, but
Yeah,
it can get quite extreme with you guys.
yeah, it does.
So the Quebec Games. I'm just gonna use that. I'm just gonna the keg games. What was the format? Was it? Tell us more about that.
Well, if I can start, Zach and I met less than 2 years ago, and we are two passionate people, and I was more in one wheel, Zach was more in EUC, so we just met and we say why we don't start something to get all the people together regarding all PEVs. So we start to work on that event on a very short period of time. We
Okay.
organized everything last year inside 2 months only, and we have more time this year. But so we when we met, we decided that we need an event here in Montreal to make the sports grow. So this is how the Quebec Electric Games born. So so Zach, if you want to maybe continue on this.
Yeah, well, I wrote a bunch. I wrote to a bunch of people, in my vicinity, like mayors and deputies and stuff like that, politicians, saying, "Hey, you guys need to see this thing. You guys need to know, what it is, what it entails, how it can help with your,
Mhm.
general goals of making things greener and stuff like that." And only a single person answered, and it was the mayor of my town, and he said, "Hey, you got to meet this guy. He's responsible for responsible transport or whatever."
Okay.
So I went and met the guy, added him on a one wheel on a EUC. After like 5 minutes, he was riding the EUC, and
Excellent.
he fell in love. And it just so happened that he was in charge of a big like natural park in my hometown. So he said, we should do a festival. And I was like, that's exactly that's exactly what I wanted to tell you. So we did.
Played for and got.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. And he was super excited. We rented the park for 3 days, like three-quarters of the park. It's a huge, like with tr huge park with trails and mountains and forest, and like, so we rented about three-quarter of the whole park for 3 days. People came in from like Toronto, well, of course, Quebec, and a little bit of people from a few people from the United States. They came in. We
New
had
Brunswick too.
New Brunswick. Like, we had a campground on site. We had a pool, multiple competition on 3 days, and yeah, that's pretty much the format that we had. We had like three main race. The first one was just a time trial, so one by one, people were doing a really hard, really hard trail race, basically. Second one
Okay.
was circuit, so you had to do like three times around the circuit.
Mhm.
It was elimination style, so if you were last, you got kicked out. And then the
Okay.
last day we did a mass race format. So like everybody on the EUCs, for example, were starting at the same time. It was a super long
Great.
sprint or like a super long circuit, and the first one wins basically. So yeah,
Fantastic. And were those individuals who did one wheel race and EUC competitions separately? Yeah.
separately,
Yep.
yeah. we were planning on having scooters too, but I think two scooters showed up, so they were just winners every time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
automatically. It's
We,
nice. And
we we have
yeah,
to
go
say
ahead.
that we got a big influence from the Oak City Shred Fest that Zach and I went last year. For my part, I've been there 3 times. I'm going down this April too in 2025. So we took a lot of what they made to bring here in Montreal, but not only OCD, but all the competition that are in the ORL or in the United States. So we try to take all the type of races and bring the stoke here in Montreal and you know show people what it's like to race se- in an environment that is secured. So we had emergency on place if someone get hurt. So
Mhm.
we took all the disposition to make sure that it's a safe race and that we have fun.
That was one of my questions. Was have you been to other events? And I'm with you. When I started looking at setting up our event in the UK, I looked at and watched pretty much every bit of footage I could get from Oak City,
Hmm.
just to see the festival and the vibe that they have, and the numbers that they get is astronomical. It's like
Yeah.
500-600 people come along,
Yeah.
and just looking at that, and I went, okay, how can I do that? But sort of scale it down
Hmm.
by about 80% smaller,
Yeah.
given the numbers of people we have in England and Europe, and it's excellent. Their whole ethos, their whole setup, it just looks like fun continuously.
It is, and
Yeah.
the vibe there is just incredible. I mean, I guess it's like that with any communities, but I haven't been part of that many communities like the one wheel and the UC communities. But like just being there with people with similar passion, right? Because it's a passion.
Mm-hmm.
You just feel connected to everyone, and like everyone just wants to have fun and ride, and they ask questions about your particular board, or hey man, show me what you did and stuff like that. So it's such a good like friendship. It's a fellowship, basically. It's really nice.
And no one's gonna get bored of you talking about one wheels for the first time in your life.
For sure.
And it's also very cool that you found a good connection with your local community, because you mentioned that you got in a collaboration with the regional park over there, which is in some countries like in Belgium, it's very hard to obtain that. We are doing most of the events on private ground, but once you get to actually go through a forest, you have to actually get the connection or get the approval from a lot of government instances. And it's
Okay.
very cool that you guys actually found somebody who was willing to share such a beautiful place to have the event.
Yeah, these people are very, very, very nice. They were open at we just talked about the project and they were in right away and they're very happy and glad that we decided to make a second edition in 2025. So these people are very sweet. They were helpful people there that was working for the park. We had several rain just before the event, and one piece of the time trial track was full of mud. And I think Zach, 4 or 5 people working for the park work all day long to make sure that it's secure. They put some woods, and they work very hard.
Oh
So
wow.
we found fantastic people to help us and make sure that we have a great event. So it was very, very nice. Also, here in Montreal, for us to go to Oak City, for example, it's 15 hours of driving, but it's not everyone who wants to make the road, and you know that it's very hard to travel with these one wheels. Some people are able to do it, like Vid. I know he's a genius guy, but it's not everyone who wants to make the road. So we decided to bring these hot events here in Montreal. So
Yeah.
this is what we are trying to do.
Yes, and it's so nice that you automatically connected like the PEV and the one wheel community to each other, because there's so much potential. It's all like we all have the same mindset, we all have the same passion, and it's so cool to see those communities join in and join forces as well.
Yeah,
So
there were a time where, you know, people were kind of fighting. Like there was, you know, people were looking like eye to eye in that in both communities.
yeah,
But those days are gone, and most people will, you know, most EUC guys will happily try a one wheel and vice versa, and I think everybody realizes that we have to work together if we want any of the sports to grow.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We're all under the same challenge, particularly legality wise.
Hmm.
For most places, I look at Vinny. For most places, you can't just ride wherever you like,
Hmm.
and I think that is that camaraderie of we're all got different vehicles and all different boards and all the rest of it, and we all have different interests in that. But we all have one big problem in a lot of places, which is the legality of doing that. And I certainly see a lot more EUCs and one wheels on the streets than I do, for example, the electric mountain boards.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
there's a lot of people that spend a lot of money on electric mountain boards, but I very rarely see anybody out in the community on those.
yeah.
But we all have the same end goal, which is ride wherever the hell, which would be nice. I don't know whether that'll ever happen, but that certainly would be nice.
Can't
So you were
stop
saying
progress.
about no, it'll come eventually.
Hmm.
But you were saying about sort of the distance and bringing more of the community, bringing the event to your community, which is fantastic. And you mentioned Vid with his little flight packs, just getting wherever the hell he likes. If someone is sat now watching and listening, thinking that sounds like fun, why not? I want to go to Canada.
Hmm.
Is there opportunities or options to rent boards in the Quebec area? Do you have that sort of provision out there?
Of course, yeah. We have partners that provides one wheel. So if people wants to join us and rent boards, there's no problem at all. We have several models, probably all of the models available. So for people who wants to take the plane and making sure they can race, there's no problem. We have some training booths. So for just visitors who wants to come and try for the first time, we're gonna have some one wheels also to make sure that people can try and fall in love like us with the sports and the one wheel. Yeah.
you just mentioned you will have all models. How integrated are VESC one wheels in Canada?
Becoming more and more, we have maybe 2 or 3 friends here in Montreal that are like our brains here that can, transform an XR platform to a VESC. And now with the GTV kits and everything that's coming in, it's getting more accessible. But we have some people here in Montreal that can repair and can switch, can upgrade boards because that maybe getting a brand new GTS, the amount is very high, so people are thinking about switching for a VESC for the same performance, I can say.
Yep.
So, but we have a small community also with the people from Toronto, also from the people from New Brunswick, here in Montreal too. So we all exchange tips and getting help each other. So yeah, it's accessible and getting, more. If you need to build a VESC, you cannot just buy a VESC and think that it's gonna work. So you need to put some time and understand how it works. So yeah, it's coming in.
Yeah, I also do still heavily depend on the brains that we have in the community for VESC. I'm still dipping my toes into it, and it's very fun. But I still also have 2 Fusion Motions machines where I definitely know they will do what I want them to do.
Yeah.
It's a challenge,
That's-
but
It's the thing I always go on about it is that when someone's riding, it's like how do you know someone's a vegan? They'll fucking tell you they're a vegan. How do you know someone's riding a VESC? There's probably something wrong with their board, and they will tell you that there's something wrong with their board. But they'll also tell you their board is excellent and it rides perfectly every time until you see the continuous chat of there's a problem with my sensor, there's a problem with the BMS, there's a problem with that, and I'm just thinking, I've got a GT, I could get a GTV kit, drop it in, be absolutely fine, a little bit more power. Do I need that? And then all over here is people having those little niggly problems. And I thought, there's nothing wrong with my GT. For what I need it to do, occasionally I have to walk up a hill, but I live in Cambridgeshire or Northamptonshire, and it's basically flat. So again, the forests I ride in, the only hills are made by the mountain bikers, and I'm not going up them anyway because they're massive jumps. So I think my brain says everyone's saying GTV hits VESC. I could do it, but I don't need to. I don't need to. But at some point, I know I will. I know I'll do it anyway, and then I'll be like, I should have done it ages ago. But
I feel like for people that are competing, it makes more sense because it does you do gain an advantage though. We couldn't separate the different classes at our last games because there weren't enough participants that we could do like VESC only or future motion only or stuff like that. But it does make a big difference. But if you're just riding, I mean, why fix something that's not broken, right?
Yes, precisely. I mean, in Europe, we ride. Everybody rides together. I think it would be particularly at most, and I imagine at our event this year, it would be the FM boards of those that are racing is the smaller amount now. The vast majority of people are on some form of VESC.
Oh yeah.
So again, the EOL rules are just everybody just get stuck in and have a bit of fun.
That's it.
Because you can stick me on the best board, but I'm certainly not going to win a race. You can put however many volts be in there, and I'll be needing the emergency services before I even got over the first kicker. So there is that element of skill. It's not just all about the power of the board.
Right.
Correct.
And it gets difficult too because when we're talking about categories, certain place they categorized by the weight of the rider, right? Because it does make a big difference. So you have rider's weight, you have the board category, you have multiple type of boards, you have ages. So how do you separate that so it's fair for everyone? It's kind of hard. So, but we're not in it for the money anyway. So we're like, let's just have fun.
When you've got big numbers of people like they have in the ORL, when they've got hundreds of people wanting to compete all the time, you're able to make those divisions.
Yeah.
Right.
But when your European events, maximum 75, 80 people might come along to that, you can't start. We're starting at my event. We're almost definitely. They keep telling me. My team keeps saying to me, they say, Mark, be like Vinie. Vinie doesn't tell anybody about the things that the skirt team are doing. He drops little clues in the podcast. Me, I'm like, no, we are doing a legends race. We are doing amateur races. We haven't planned these things out. I'm just saying them. I'm manifesting them again. But I think in Europe, we're getting to a point now that we can start looking at just not weight-wise. I don't think there's enough riders for that, but sort of splitting them by skill level almost of timing of races to do. A full time trial race, the top 16 are your pro racers. They go for the pro prizes. The rest of them are the amateur races. They go for the amateur prizes.
Yeah.
And I think there's a nice balance to have that, particularly as I'd be in the amateur races and I might win a prize. That would be nice. I'm not in the legends age bracket just yet. Another year to go for that. Yeah. But I think there's enough people getting involved and attending events that could enjoy that. Do you guys do like social rides and stuff at your event? Or is it just the racing?
Well, social events you mean by clinics and everything, that kind of stuff?
Like group rides,
Yeah, we did.
around the area.
We did a glow ride last summer in the woods with all those lights and everything. Was
cool.
very nice, but except for the Quebec Electric Games, it's new, so we try to make some group rides during the summer at some specific places, like in Montreal. It's primarily central of the North Shore and the South Shore, mostly where people ride. We try to organize. Zach and I have separate events that we did at the biggest indoor skate park in Canada, which is called the Taz. It's during the winter, so people can just get together and practice. We made some funny competition, like limbo competition, some small races and everything.
Yep.
So people can try boards, and people are missing to ride during the winter. So for my part, it's called the Montreal Winter Bash. Unfortunately, this year we don't made it. We decided to take all our time to make the second edition of the Quebec Electric Game, taking more time, having more sponsors, more price, more surprises.
Yeah.
So
But as far as the Quebec Electric Games are concerned, like it's too remote. It's so remote that we couldn't just go and ride in the do a social ride outside of the spot. It was quite
Okay.
it was quite tight too in terms of scheduling. Like we had races. Like we had to use every minutes of every day. So we couldn't just say, all right, let's go and let's ride in Montreal and do an hour long car trip so we can ride there and then come back. And
Right.
so it was too remote for us to allow us to do social rides. But the glow ride was really nice, like going through the woods with music and all kinds of glow sticks on us and everything. It was amazing.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was amazing.
yeah,
That's cool.
very nice.
I do forget how big other countries are.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. But it is definitely a topic that is not to be forgotten when doing events, because we also did some races, and if you have a lot of people coming, it's not only racers that are coming to the event. And I know when you combine the two sports together, you will probably need a lot of time. But
yeah.
we did a survey afterwards, asking some questions, and it came out of the survey that the guests are actually were giving more attention to the social rights than the racing, because if your event grows, you start having more people, also people who don't race, and they want to have something to do instead of just watching other people fly by. And that's why it's an important thing to take along if you guys are pushing the event to bigger realms.
Yeah, absolutely
You're right.
true. Yeah, this year we're gonna spend a lot more time thinking about that. Like we're renting a big indoor space so we can have like different like trick competitions, stuff like that. So
That's cool.
while other people are racing, like you can try little jumps or whatever. We want the public to be to come in and try stuff too. So we're this year we're focusing on everything else. Like the racers, we're still focusing on them, but we want everybody else to also have a good time and try stuff.
We
How big is your
organize.
team?
Sorry, go
Sorry, I was
ahead.
gonna say, how big is your team? How big is the team to help organize the event?
We're like I don't know, like 5, 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
It's a lot of
last
work.
last year was just me and Dave, and we very quickly realized that we needed more people. Actually,
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Impressed. Very
Yeah.
impressive. Wow.
actually, like I think 2 weeks before the event, my girlfriend, my wife actually, who was a coordinator, a producer on television, she goes like, how many people are working for you guys? And we're like, well, I don't know of you. And she's like, somebody needs to take care of these guys. Like this is the life and blood. Volunteers are the life and blood of an event like that, and you need coordination and stuff like that. And we didn't think about it at all. We were just promoting and like wishing that everything would go well. Thank God the girls like jumped in.
So we decided to have a specific task for people. So we name people that take care of the marketing, social media, sponsors, the volunteers, the security, and everything. So we are more organized, if I can say, for 2025. And we will make sure that during the races, if people want to do something else, we'll have some games, some practice, or just some clinics. Yeah, we will have more module this year. We will build a trick park for rails,
Excellent.
stunts, and everything. Last year we did a King of the Hill race, which is only for fun. We have a big,
think
big.
I saw some clips on that. It seemed bloody steep and very rutty little,
Yeah,
Yeah.
fine, narrow path. I saw some clips on that.
yeah, it was
That was
hard.
hard.
Yeah,
We also did a small race, a relay race. We call that Pineapple Express. So instead of having a wood, it was a pineapple. So you just have to go meet the people and throw the pineapple. So it was kind of funny
That-
to,
that- that
running with a
very-
pineapple.
a very well-known Canadian delicacy
Yeah,
is a
yeah, yeah,
pineapple.
yeah.
That's cool. Throwing some culture in there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we try to throw some, funny games between races so people
Yeah.
can have some fun all the weekend long.
Some
Yeah,
entertainment as well.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had some chats at our event this year, same as yourselves, same as Vinny. We had a lot of people that came along to our event that wanted to race, and a lot of people that just wanted to go out on the social rides. And we realized that particularly for when we did the time trials, there's a lot of waiting around. And for those that aren't going to take part in the time trial race, which I'm heavily encouraging everybody to do because it's just fun. Even if you don't intend to race, it's just fun.
Yeah.
Just to go around a racetrack and just see what you can do. We're going to organise social rides during that time as well for those people that don't want to take part in the racing. So again, those would be probably slightly more low key and smaller groups. I think our social rides we did last year, everybody went out at the same time. So we had sort of 51 wheels and stretched out over, at one point when I was filming, it was sort of, there's a 3/4 of a mile stretch and it was just all one wheels all along this field. I was like, this is going to take ages. We need to cut down the route. Otherwise we're going to be out for like 3 hours. And it wasn't the plan. It was an hour ride. We're trying to organise that a little bit better within our scheduling for people to be engaged that aren't taking part in big race stuff.
Yeah.
Because I think it's important to to keep that community feel rolling.
Yeah. But you're right though that it's a lot of work, to organize something like that and try to think of everything, try to think of everybody, and make sure that everyone has their like fair share of fun in the whole thing, and that you break even in the end too, because it costs a lot of money. So
people don't realize.
it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like last year
Mostly,
at our first event, we broke even. We were like we were ecstatic. We broke even on the first year. We were like, wow.
Excellent.
Yeah.
yeah, it's always an adventure that you start with sometimes with little knowledge of what you're doing. We had a similar thing. We were 3 people. The Belgian race that we had was cancelled, so we were like, okay, let's do it ourselves.
Yeah.
We had no knowledge at all, just threw ourselves into the adventure. Luckily, we got a very cool venue where lots of stuff was already available, and from there, you just kind of build it up and you learn along the way. And one of the most beautiful moments that I still recall from the first WoW was because the bottom lane was totally washed out by the rain the first year, and it was all mud and you couldn't even ride through there. But that night, the Friday night before the race, I think around 15 people from the audience just took up shovels, carriers, whatever they could find. There was even a tractor. They went out and about to the town, and everything that they could find that was lying around somewhere, they pulled it in and they threw it in the lane. And the day after, sunshine was there and it was all rideable. So still very...
We built that beach.
Yeah, definitely.
It was just the sandy island snaking through. Like, there's a low puddle over there, so we're just going to go on the high ground. Even though the high ground was only about that much higher.
Yeah.
Very deep, muddy puddle. We pour the rocky sand and how Sam, I thought, who was driving the tractor and dropping off all the sandy sort of gravelly sort of stuff. I was like, he must be doing this for years. No, it's the first time he's ever driven the damn thing. And he's there just backing up and down, backing up and forth, dropping the sand down. It was great. Just everybody just pitched in. And it was good fun. It was really
Once again, the sense of community, coming through and everybody helping each other and trying to make
amazing.
it the best for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at our event, it was great fun on the last day, on the Monday, because we're all exhausted by that point. I mean, you guys know how it feels. And I got up the Monday morning. I was like, right, because it was a bank holiday in the UK. So it's like, okay, we'll go and do a social ride. Then we've got to do the pack down and all the rest of it. And I probably came down I was so tired, about an hour later than I'd planned to. And half the stuff had been packed away by the people that were camping, that were joining in with the event, and they brought the ramps together and taken down all the fencing. And I was just like, this is excellent. This is brilliant. It's just that community.
Yeah, I tell you, I've never been as tired as by the end of the first edition of the Quebec Electric Games, man. I've never felt that tired in my life.
All the pressure goes off. I remember when we took all the stuff inside the truck and to go to the warehouse and drop everything. I was so much tired. I stepped on the nail. I was like, oh my God. And
Yeah.
then going back on the road, I kind of scratched up the branch of the trees, and was like, oh my God, can I just go sleep, please?
You ripped the tree in
But
half.
worth it.
Yeah.
Was an amazing. So it's a lot of preparation for a short period of time, but worth every single seconds. We discovered fantastic people that was helping us wide open. So
Yeah.
the community is amazing, and this is why we decided to add more people to the small group of our organizer, to make sure that we have more time, but we find people that have more skill than us, so we are stronger together, and
Yeah.
we need to be around better people than us, to be better every year. So this is what we decided to do this year in 2025.
I'm gonna have to.
So when
I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna have
when
to
it,
leave. Uh,
that's
No
it's been
worries.
wonderful chatting to Zachary.
yeah. I'm
Thank you
sorry.
for joining us.
It's been a pleasure speaking with you guys. Keep sharing the stoke and enjoy the community and the sense of community. And thank you so much. Can't wait to see your podcast.
All right. Thank you
Brilliant.
very
Cheers,
much for
guys.
Cheers.
joining, Zachary.
So, Dave, the question I've got, something we haven't told people is, when is it? When is the event? You said July, but I haven't even got the
Yep.
date written down here.
So it's July 11, 12, and 13. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So the first day, people arrive, take their stuff, camp, ride around, meet, have a beer, having fun. And the races are starting on Saturday morning, all day.
Mhm.
And Sunday, it's the mass race in the morning, and we end up around 12, packed it up, make sure that we leave no trash, uh, and say goodbye till next
You
year.
make it sound so simple. Turn up, have a beer, have a ride, have a race, go home. As easy as that.
Easy as that. But yeah, we hope that we have more people coming in this year. We sent some invitation from for a couple riders in the States. I hope they're gonna make the road. Um, but mainly it's Canadian, people from Toronto and around the area. But we want to go bigger, but taking the time to go bigger, and keep the event. You know, the roots of the event is just being with people. So if we can bring the
Yeah.
stoke in Canada, there are not very much event in Canada. With the Quebec Electric Game, I think it was the first of a kind in Canada. A place that you can
Fantastic, yeah.
sleep and races and everything. So I know there's a small event coming in 1 month in Toronto. It's called the Mini PEV Game. I'm gonna go there also with people, but besides that, never heard really of other event, maybe local event, but we have to start somewhere to make sure that people get influence, like I did with the Shred Fest. Open my eyes to, okay, let's start something here in Montreal.
You should reach out. You have quite some popular influencers in Canada who are riding the one wheel. There's Peter McKinnon and Mati Hakoni of Haponi. I don't know, but they are very big YouTubers and they always ride the one wheel in their vlogs. If you would get one of those people on board or just in touch on socials, that could really help in getting some reach because they have millions of followers and they one wheel.
Should be good. Should be
Yeah.
very good. We have Dave Sabarin. They call him Canada Dave. He's a pro racer in the ORL. So
Okay.
he live in the area. He's a part of the organizer. He's in charge of the skate park, and he's the trail director. So um, we get
Excellent.
some coverage with Dave, but we should exchange those names and maybe reach to them and see if they're available to come. And
Yeah,
We never
you
know.
never know. Always shoot for the moon. You might land on a star.
Yeah.
What would be your most epic memory of the last year's event? Things that happened that stuck to you, or what comes to mind?
The Pineapple Race and the King of the Hill was two quick, fun game that we just say, let's do that like a couple hours before the event. And I think that people loved it a lot. They asked for more last year, well, this year. So I think these small races, these mini games was one of the highlights. Also, we had some injuries during the races, small injuries. But for example, one guy in HUC broke his finger during the race, but he finished the race and go to the hospital after that. he he didn't take the time to stop. He just finished the race and say, "Okay, I got a broken finger. Now I'm gonna go to the hospital." That was funny. That was
We
funny.
have a couple of those in Europe as well.
Insert picture of Jaffa covered in bandages again. No, I'll have to stop doing it.
And Goes as well. He wrecked his
Goes.
shoulder in the race and
Yep.
finished the race before going to the hospital guys.
Yeah,
Madness.
people are crazy, but when you're running, the adrenaline is there, and sometimes you just feel it when the race is over. Say, "Oh, I got a broken finger." But well,
But it is those little mini games that you can have
of course.
that just bring up the experience, bring the stoke, as you say.
Things like we sometimes have these rumbles. Somebody, like, I still remember on one of the the second event in Belgium, the float line. It was before we even did events, and there was a festival connected to it. And after the event, there was just a race that day, and everybody arrived from the camping with his one wheel to the festival because we wanted to check some music, have a few beers. And after a while, there were about 20 to 25 one wheels riding around on the festival ground. And within the hour, everybody was drinking, riding one wheels. Even the nurses that were available from the EHBO, they were all riding in that same fashion and having fun. And that's really where you see that this machine shines in connecting people and just getting people moving, get their ass moving. Some people were dancing on the one wheel, so it was so cool to see.
During the glow ride last year, people were dancing, was chilling, making fun stuff. Just the hype on that. I used to be a skateboarder, and when I discover one wheel, it just bring me so much back memories from when I was younger. I don't know. One wheel changed my life. I mean, about it's a way of life for me now. Board sports, one wheel, and everything. So it kinds of stay young forever. So for me, it's that kind of thinking, and so having fun with people. So it's just crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'll keep saying it. You grow old when you stop playing, man. You don't stop playing because you grow old.
Exactly.
Words of wisdom from Vinie. Dave, it's been great chatting to you. I've got one more question before we wrap up. Am I right in thinking you recently got an XR Classic?
Yeah.
Did I see that? What's that like riding in the snow?
Oh, I didn't ride it in the snow.
Not bad.
No, it's only, I can bring it to you.
Too precious. Too precious.
This little baby.
Too new to throw at the snow.
And I took the recurve one. But I have my GT now. It's a GTV that I all badgered and got some. I put a Pioneer tire on it, which have some more groove and deeper and steeper grooves. Works perfectly on the snow. One of my friends put some studs on it, even to get more grip.
Oh, wow.
But it's fun on snow. It's very fun. And if you nosedive on one wheel during the snow, when you fall, it don't hurt. So it's magic.
Yeah, at least you get to experience that all winter in Canada.
Yeah. But we ride around on fat bike path that are worked. They are like stumped, so you don't go down too heavily on the snow. So it's perfect and it grips well. So yeah, it's kind of fun, actually.
Yeah, I would like to try it one day.
If you
Fantastic.
want to stop by Montreal one day, you just have to call me. I have a place for you.
If I'm ever around, definitely.
Brilliant. Dave, it has been fantastic chatting to you this afternoon for you, this evening for us, bedtime for Vinny. I genuinely wish you all success in the world with your keg games. I'm not going to try and say it. In my head, I really want to try. Yes, I can't. I did German at
Jeux
school.
électriques Québec.
Wo ist das
Or
Kino?
you just can say Quebec Electric Games, but it's perfect.
Quebec Electric Games. Yeah.
Yeah.
Où est le vent?
Perfect.
Où est la plage? These are the only French things. Where's the wind? Where's the beach?
Isn't the keg in English like a barrel of
It is
liquor?
a barrel of beer, keg of beer,
When we listen to the way it sounds, we say, "Ah, keg is nice to hear," so we say, "Okay, keg it is."
Yeah, it's comes to mind pretty easily and it sticks.
Thank you
Thanks
very
a
much
lot.
for joining us, man. It has been an absolute pleasure. And maybe one day we'll see you in Montreal.
And maybe one day I'll be I'll be coming in Europe to make the all circuits. You have plenty of races all around Europe. It's fantastic to see you guys going with all the people there. So keep it up too.
Always welcome, man.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So yet again, another very cool talk with some people that we actually didn't know this time. And I think a lot of our guests won't know them as well. And that is one of the objectives that we have with this podcast, is to shine a light on everything that is happening throughout One Wheel World. And so cool to see that also Canada is growing a very cool community. And there's some people there with, taking it by the horns and putting those people together. So cool.
Yeah, I'm excited to see their footage from their event for this year. I've watched a little bit on Instagram, just kind of to see what the vibe was and stuff to do with the racing, stuff like that. And as I said, I was shocked. I was genuinely shocked to see people wearing shorts and t-shirts in Canada. I just assume it's cold all the time because that's mostly what you see: snowboarding and snow and moose, I guess.
Mooses.
Mooses? I don't know.
It's a Canadian thing.
I don't know.
I think.
So yeah, I'm excited to see that, and that just shows though that there are events just popping up absolutely everywhere that people just aren't aware of.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see that. And if anybody is listening and you've got a little event that you're putting together, drop us a line. We would happily chat to you and drop any other guest that we have lined up. That's not true, but we want to talk to people. I want to hear about all the little events that are happening, whether it's just an en masse holiday trip. If you're going on holiday with a bunch of one-wheelers, tell us about it, because people want to hear about your experiences, how you got there, how the planning went, all that kind of stuff. So drop us a line and let us know.
Yeah, I even saw on the Discord server that Vit has also announced his event in Slovenia.
Yes.
So that's also...
I think it's around the 7th. I'll check this. It's like the 17th or 18th of July or something like that. Because I looked at it. I looked at how far it was. I looked at the route. I thought, can I go on my motorbike? It's like 18 hours. Probably not. I've done it. I've done worse. But yeah, it's mid-July. It's pretty sure like 17th and 18th of July or
somewhere in the summer months. And it's not really a race. It's more of a group thing. So people who are really into social rides, definitely check that out. It's going to be a wicked time, because you cannot wish for a better guide in that country than Vid.
Hell no.
He knows almost all the roads over there. So definitely check that out if you haven't yet.
Excellent. And it'll sell you a flight plaque if you want to fly with your board. It'll sell it to you, and then you can, or just rip the batteries out, take the board without any batteries in, and then no delivery costs. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, he actually did do the home delivery. I saw it in his stories. The one that he talked about in the Christmas episode.
Oh, yeah, I missed that. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he actually went to Austria and delivered that board to that person's, I think, village, because he was in Austria with that board. So respect to it for being everywhere. Yeah, definitely.
I'll have to find that. I'll look at that. That's brilliant.
Yeah, also somebody we definitely need to talk to in the future, for real. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. We are looking to some other guests. As we mentioned in the intro, we're probably going to juggle a little bit with the timing. So don't worry if the episode doesn't drop on Wednesday. We are definitely still out here and trying to figure out how to get as many people in front of your noses as possible. So if you like the content, give it a thumbs up. Follow us if you want more content, and hit that bell if you don't want to miss out on anything. And Mark, take it away.
I always forget about that whole subscribe shit.
Kind of used to it from the YouTube stuff, so
yeah.
Take it away.
Keep that nose up. Keep that nose up. There you go.